Welcome to Ultimate Survival Gear. Today I want to present a brand new section on this channel dedicated specifically to planning an outdoor adventure. Whether you're planning a solo expedition to climb a Colorado 14er or a team effort backpacking along the Appalachian Trail, or simply looking to finally get out of the concrete jungle and experience outdoors for yourself, I hope that this information serves you well. So, in this particular video, besides the introduction, we will cover the questions, the answers to which will serve as a guide in your adventure planning. We will also cover a simple approach that will make your packing a lot easier. As always, all the gear mentioned in these videos will be linked in the description below. But keep in mind that it is not about what you have, it's about how you use it. So, let's try to answer a few questions. First and foremost, are you planning a solo adventure, meaning that you are all by yourself? Or do you plan to be in a group of people? And if so, how big is the group? It is awesome to experience outdoors all by yourself, fully relying on what you have and what you know. But it is just as awesome to feel the responsibility for everyone who is in your group, relying on each other and sharing an experience together. Being solo means that what you have is all you have. Smaller, lighter setups tend to work a lot better. A group can share weight of everything packed, so the gear can be more practical and elaborate. For example, a quality base camp stove will allow you to cook yourself and your group any gourmet dinner, and would not be such a burden to carry if one member of the group packs a cooking system while the other packs the sleeping system. As a solo adventure, you probably want to opt in for something smaller like a micro camp stove, which of course will be a lot less comfortable to cook on. But I will have a separate video on both solo and group outdoor adventures, and of course the cooking systems as well. Other questions you need to answer are of course the nature of your adventure. What activities are you planning to include as part of your outdoor adventure? Skiing, snowboarding, climbing, paragliding, more activities, more gear. You might have a specific objective in mind, or you might just want to be prepared for whatever comes up. For example, I like to bring my climbing shoes on every hike and trail run that I go to, just in case if I see something climbable. That brings us to the question about terrain and conditions. What time of the year are you planning your adventure? What kind of terrain will you be covering? These two questions will dramatically help you with what you need to wear: shoes, boots, pants, shorts, your layers. I will have a few separate videos on these particular questions that will hopefully help you get your outfit and layering together. And of course, this is a review channel after all, so most of the stuff that I personally use during my outdoor adventures has already been reviewed here. You will have to estimate the approximated amount of time your outdoor adventure will take. Will it be an in-out adventure? Early start on the trailhead and back to the trailhead by the end of the day? Or are you planning an overnight? And if you are planning an overnight, are you setting up camp? How much distance and elevation are you planning to cover during your outdoor adventure? Here are a few other questions to consider. How comfortable do you want to be? How much of that comfort are you willing to let go? The more comfortable you want to be, most of the times means more gear to bring with you. The more gear you have, the more weight you have to carry, the slower you go, the shorter distances you cover. You get the point. Same thing with safety and protection. More protection, more gear. Just by answering these basic questions, you might have yourself a good list of things that you need to pack. And I will make a separate video covering each of these aspects in greater detail, but for now, let's make your packing a lot simpler. Think about your basic daily necessities while in the comforts of your own home. You have your sleep, you have your cooking, food, water, you have your hygiene, you have your clothing. Now take all of that and apply it along the questions we tackled above. If you're out for more than a few hours, you will need food and water to be comfortable. If you're out for more than a day, you will need a sleeping system. You will need to meet your hygiene necessities. Clothing, of course, depending on the conditions and the terrain. Now let's make it even more simplified. You have consumables and non-consumables. Food and water that you bring with you is consumable and will deplete, making your return trip a bit more lightweight, great, but hopefully not before the adventure is over, so that you're not returning hungry and thirsty. But the weight of the sleeping system, cooking system, and whatever else non-consumable gear will travel with you back and forth. Or should I say, forth and back. Concluding all of the above, this is the easiest way to pack that I have found to work for me personally. If applicable, start with a sleeping system. Usually, in most of the cases, sleeping system is the bulkiest stuff that you carry. Because in most situations you will unload your sleeping system only once in a 24-hour period, you can pack it at the bottom of your backpack. Whether you go with a tent, hammock, sleeping bag, there are a lot of different options out there. Again, depending on how comfortable of a sleep you want to have, how soft, how warm, how quickly you want to be able to set it up, how much space you want to allow for it, a lot of questions to answer. So I will have a separate video on different sleeping systems and finding the right one for your need. So you go out for 2 days into the woods. You decide to go with a hammock. Good choice, why not? Question, you need a blanket, you need a pillow, you need a rain fly to protect you from elements. All that additional gear that is associated with your sleep is your sleeping system. Start with that, pack it first. Once you are done with your sleeping system, move on to the cooking system. Are you planning to cook something elaborate or something basic? Are you using pre-made dehydrated meals that only require boiled water? Or are you cooking mushroom sauté filet mignon? All your utensils, plates, cups, again, how comfortable and classy you want to be with your food. I like to include a water filtration system as part of the cooking system. Again, if you have higher standards in the safety protection department, and if you want one of your consumables, that is water, to be replenishable, there you go, your filtration system. Otherwise, nothing wrong with bringing a water bottle and filling it up from a creek. And now with the above question regarding the terrain answered, you know for sure. Next, hygiene system. From portable shower to nothing at all. How clean do you want to be? Bring a toothbrush or don't. Bring a hand sanitizer or don't. At the very least, I would recommend biodegradable wet wipes. But if you do decide to grab those, make sure to bring a small shovel that will allow you to bury the used wipes. And make sure they are actually biodegradable. Now, let's talk about consumables. Food and water. Let's start with food. You have your snacks, you have your meals. Snacks, you don't have to stop, so you pack them somewhere with a quick access. That way you don't have to stop and take off your backpack and dig through it just to have a beef jerky. Meals, you'd have to stop regardless, so you can pack them somewhere close to the cooking system. Water, again, quick access is great. Most of the backpacks these days are compatible with a hydration system, so you can hydrate on the go. But again, if you have running water or if you have a water filtration system and standing fresh water, you can get away with simply carrying a one water container, and once it is empty, simply refill and continue. Depending on where you hike, I would recommend doing some extra research and learning about consumable plants, wild fruits, berries. Here in Kentucky, for example, there's plenty of wild berries depending on the season, so there you go, real deal snacking experience as you go. Again, as you can see, there's a whole lot of things to consider whenever it comes to consumables, so I will have a separate video on that as well. Finally, last but not least, it is your active gear. That is your shoe wear, clothing, safety gear, activity specific gear. And in the course of the next few videos, we will talk more about active gear as well. Keep in mind, no matter how much you plan and prepare, you will most of the times overpack or underpack. But the more you are out there in the beautiful world, Not the world that we created, not the concrete jungle, but the world created by God. The more you will learn from Him, the more comfortable you will become, the more things you will be able to do, so spend less time stressing and more time experiencing the blessing. This was Ultimate Survival Gear. God bless, and I will see you in the next video.